ॐ स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मामृतङ्गमय। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। Let us pray to Sri Ramakrishna, the embodiment of all religions, the Supreme God incarnate. Let us bow down to Him and pray to Him to lead us from unreal to the real, to lead us from the darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, to lead us from death to immortality. Today's topic, Message of Lord Krishna. Last month we have observed the birthday of Lord Krishna, who has given the divine message to the whole world in the form of Bhagavad Gita. He has instructed us how to face the battle of life. You must know Bhagavad Gita was taught in the battlefield in Kurukshetra. So life is also a battlefield. So you must know the technique of conducting yourself in the life. It's a constant fight. So, if you know how to fight, you will become victorious. If you don't know to fight, then you will be miserable. And life means one will have depressions, ups and downs. So many things happen. So, how to maintain your spirit properly? Arjuna is representing all of us. He underwent terrible depression. It was unbearable to him. It made him so weak. He lost, as it were, all the energy in his body. The great Gandiva bow, which he was holding in his hand, he could not hold it anymore. His hand was shaking, he was trembling. He was as if attacked by neurosis, terrible depression. the bow and arrows. Thus, simply they dropped on the ground. And he was confused about dharma. He was confused about performing actions. And he asked a pertinent question to Lord Krishna. O Lord, atakena prayuktoyam papam charati purushaha anichannapi varshneya baladiva niyojitaha. Because he chose Lord Krishna as his spiritual master, besides being the best friend, Arjuna was saved. He was saved because Shri Krishna was his spiritual master. When Lord Krishna gave the message, finally he totally surrendered himself to Shri Krishna and said, O Lord, all my doubts are vanquished. I am now ready to face the music of life. I am no more afraid of anything. The fear has been uprooted. It is the fear that causes all depression, all sorts of things in life. So finally, he rose himself. He became so great in the end. He is asking this question. Why people commit sins? Why do they engage in misdeeds and work in such a way that it will bring about bondage? By what force they are compelled? By what force they are impelled? By whom they are forced to commit sin? Even when a man doesn't want to do anything that will bring about misery and bondage, still on many occasions he acts in a way which is just the opposite of what he would like to do. He is forced to do certain things, as it were. What's the reason for it? Why people commit all such things? They know it is bad, but still they do it. And Lord Krishna clearly specifies the reason. Look, there is a reason for that. Why people commit sins? It is because kama esha krodha esha rajoguna samudbhavaha mahashano mahapapma vidhe nimika vairinam. The force that impels you to do work is kama, desire. The whole world is going on account of this desire. It is a desire that keeps man active all the time, even unto death. And this desire, this kama, is krodha, anger. It's very interesting to know this. How kama becomes krodha. Desire becomes anger. They are not different. They are not two, but one and the same. How? Desire, when it is thwarted, when it finds an obstruction to its fulfillment, it becomes anger. Let us take an example. You give a piece of bone to a dog. What does it do? It gnaws at it avariciously. Try to snatch it off, it becomes vicious. It bares its teeth to bite you. This is krodha. Anger, which is an expression of a desire when it is obstructed. That means desire itself changes into anger. Anger is not born independently. Desire, and hence also anger, is born out of Rajogun. Three gunas are there. The whole world is under the influence of these three gunas, which come very often in our Vedantic texts. Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. This Rajogun is responsible for all the things happening to us. Whatever misery you are undergoing, suffering you are experiencing, it is because of this Rajogun. Rajogun is the understanding. I am the body, I am the mind, I am the intellect, the world is real. To get joy, I have to work in the world. I have to move among the people, among the objects of that world. In that understanding, you go on working, thinking that you will get so much of joy out of your activities. Rajogun is the force that makes you extrovert and induces you to too much of physical actions. You have no time even to breathe. You become so hectic, consequently become so restless. So, the desire is born out of your extrovert tendency. It is such an avaricious eater that the more and more you feed it, it will ask for more and more. It's not that you have fulfilled the desire, it's all over. No. Even before your desire is being fulfilled, already another desire is waiting to come in the line. Desire is such that it will never be satisfied, however much you give way to it. Trying to satisfy yourself by accomplishing your desires is not the correct process. Lord Krishna very emphatically points out, because you will never succeed in that process. If one desire is satisfied, in its place 1,000 other desires sprout up. Ashapashitairbaddhaha kamakrodha parayanaha ihante kamabhogartam anyayena artha sanchaya. It's the desires that force you to earn money by improper means, because you have to satisfy your desires. You indulge in all such bad actions. Consequently, you suffer. So, he who kills his desires alone is a king among people. He who is a mastery over the desires. That means he doesn't want to desire anything that causes disturbance. Not only that, he is even greater than a king. The man who has conquered desires is greater than even the king. There's a wonderful story which Sri Ramakrishna also has mentioned in the Gospel. It was a period when Akbar was ruling India. He used to offer prayers. He would go to mosque regularly. One day, he had gone to a mosque and he was offering his prayers. Next to him was seated a fakir, a Sufi saint, man of knowledge, man of wisdom. And that fakir had just completed his prayers. He was just about to go, but then he heard Akbar praying to Allah. He just happened to hear it. What was he praying? He was the king of the country at that time. Even then, his desire was not satisfied. Oh Allah, I have got so many kingdoms, but I have not yet annexed Bengal. It is still there. I have to conquer it. Give me soldiers. Give me courage. Give me strength. Give me power. Give me valor. Why? To conquer Bengal. He is not satisfied with the kingdom he is having. That means, even though he has things to do, he can't enjoy it because of the impelling force of the desire. Not only that, it's not that it's over. After annexing Bengal, I want to conquer Orissa, another state. So, he was praying Allah in this manner. The fakir, he laughed himself. What is this fellow doing here? What kind of prayer is offering in front of God? Asking for petty things. He wants to conquer Bengal, he wants to conquer Orissa, he wants to kill people, he wants to make people suffer. He was not happy over it. Well, he was waiting to meet the king someday so that he could open his eyes. Well, after some days, Akbar, he was fond of meeting the holy people. He had good points also. And it's not easy to go and meet the holy people because of egoism. If you are so proud and boastful, you don't want to go anywhere and talk to anybody. Why should I go? So there must be something. Anyway, Akbar went one day to meet this fakir because the fakir was known to the people. When he talked with saint, he was so much impressed by him, by his wisdom. And Akbar said, "Oh, master, it's very good if you can come and stay in my court, because it will help a lot. People can learn many things. Please come, I will give you all hospitality. You don't have to worry for anything. You don't have to bother anything. Everything will be taken care of. You know I am a king." And he had brought so many offerings, gift. But the saint was so contented. He had reached a point of contentment. Santushto yena kena chit was his ideal. Lord Krishna says, be satisfied whatever you have. That's the spiritual quality. To be satisfied in whatever condition you are, that's the spiritual quality. And this saint didn't want anything. He didn't want any gifts. He didn't want any offerings. He didn't want any hospitality. So he refused. Not only that, he didn't want to go even to his court. Then the king became little angry because his desire was not fulfilled. He asked him to come, he didn't come. He offered, he refused it. See that? Now he became angry. And why are you refusing? What's the reason? Akbar asked him gravely. And the saint answered in a very calm way. He is not disturbed by all these things. He said, well, I don't want anything from a beggar. You are a beggar. You simply call yourself a king. Akbar was enraged. What is this saint calling me a beggar? Who am the king of India? I have got so much property, wealth, possession, army, and he is calling me a beggar? Then he shouted, you call me the great emperor of Hindustan a beggar? He was in great puzzle. Then the saint answered him, yes, because the other day I heard your prayers in the mosque, begging this and that. On the other hand, I am perfectly satisfied and contented. How can I, who need nothing to make me happy, take anything from a beggar who has not enough to make himself happy? When the saint said this, it opened the eyes of Akbar, he was an intelligent man, immediately realized what an abject slave of desire he was. He was just pulled by desires. So he was miserable, though he was a king. So the enemy, the real enemy that stands between you and perfection is desire, which expresses through the body, mind and intellect. With the desire present in you, whatever you do will not be perfectly done. Herein comes the importance of religion. It requires controlling this desire. As long as these desires control you, you have no religion. You are simply calling yourself, I am Hindu, I am Christian, I am this, I am that. Labeling yourself in different colors. It's all shallow inside. You have to practice. You have to control your desires. Then only you are practicing religion. Otherwise you are only talking about religion, not practicing. Simply talking. So even though you are in the garb of practicing religion, you are always suffering because you are not practicing it properly. So Lord Krishna says, Indriyanam hicharatam yanmano vidiyate tatasya harati pragyam vayurnam vivambhasi. The mind which goes after the wandering senses carries away the person's discrimination as the wind carries away a boat on the water. So, that one alone will attain steady wisdom state, in whom the senses are controlled, and who can resist them mad onrush of the senses towards the sense objects. In order to control your desires, you should know where it is seated and how it acts and how it puts you down. All these things you must know. So, Lord Krishna again tells, Dhumena vriyate vanhir yatadarsho malena cha yatholbena vrito garbhas tatha tenedamavritam. Conquering desire is a bit difficult. The method of conquering desire is given. The soul, S-O-U-L, within has three qualities. One, it is intelligent, sentient, not inert. It is a conscious principle. Second, it is pure, untainted, unpolluted. Only something that is subject to change can be tainted, can get spoiled. But pure consciousness is not subject to change or decay. Third, the soul is self-illuminating as well as capable of illuminating other things. The body, mind and intellect can function only when illumined by the conscious principle within the soul. It is the intelligent principle within which radiates upon the body, mind and intellect as life energy. If the intellect is expressing itself, it's only a projection of the infinite principle. If the mind is acting, the conscious principle of the mind is an emanation from that. If the senses have the capacity to express themselves and to perceive the conscious principle in the senses, is nothing but an emanation from that infinite principle. Desire, seated in the body, mind and intellect, covers up this conscious, pure and all-eliminating soul within. It is the desire that covers this illuminating soul. Like the cloud covering the beautiful, brilliant sun. The sun is excellent. It is shining all the time, giving light all the time. but it is not visible on account of the cloud covering the sun. It is the desire that covers the glory of the soul. So, desire, suppose it is seated in the intellect, how it causes you trouble? It will rise up its head like intellectual desires. What is that? I want to write a book. I want to write autobiography of my experiences. And why should I not express myself? I have got so much talent, so much skills. And why not I become more famous, more reputed person than anybody else? And so on. Thus seated in the intellect as intellectual desires and ambitious, it covers up the soul, which is self-illuminating and capable of illuminating others, like smoke covering the fire. Dhumena vriyate vannir yatadasho malena cha. The fire also, Agni, it is also self-illuminating and illuminating the other things, but it is covered by smoke. This is the subtlest form by which kama, desire, covers up the soul. It also deludes the intellect and makes it turn towards the world and not towards the soul. Because you are turning towards the world, for whatever reason you may give, you are suffering. Now, kama, suppose it is seated in the mind, it gives rise to mental desires. And he entertains all sorts of desires. Oh, I have got family, I have got children, I have got this. I must raise up my son, my daughter. I must give them good education. Like that, go on thinking vigorously in the mind about things to be done. Thus seated in the mind as desire for pleasure, enjoyment of worldly life, it covers up the pure, painless, unpolluted soul as dirt covers up a pure, bright and untainted mirror. The dirt has come and settled superficially on the bright face of the mirror. But it looks as though the dirt is attached to the mirror. It can be removed quite easily if you exert yourself a bit and wipe the mirror with a clean piece of cloth. So also, the soul is something that cannot be tainted, but the force of our mental emotions and desires covers it in such a way that we cannot see it through that gloom. The grossest and the outermost expression of kama is in the senses. Here, kama, desire, covers up the conscious, sentient, all-knowing principle within us by expressing itself as bodily desires and passions and cravings of the senses. Thus, sitting in the senses, it makes us desire, covet and pine for the pleasures. So, he wants to enjoy things in so many ways. So he uses his senses, indulging in all sorts of pleasures. The senses, when they start going out to the external world, they don't go simply, they drag your mind along with the intellect. Kama or desire by itself has no force, it is inert. Yet, as an inert substance covers up the sentient and conscious child, the placenta in the womb, so also Kama, the inert substance, is covering up the sentient and intelligent being, the real inner personality, the soul. These three illustrations which I just given you, they are given to show that desire, the one enemy of spiritual aspirants, clouds and eclipses the three natural qualities of the soul. What are the three natural qualities? The first quality is Chaitanya Swabhava, the nature of pure consciousness. Secondly, Swayam Prakasha Swabhava, its capacity to reveal itself. And thirdly, Anyat Prakashana Swabhava, its capacity to illuminate other things. That is, the whole universe, including our body, mind and intellect. Thus, desire seated in the body, mind and intellect covers up the soul in three ways. In a subtle way in the intellect, in a less subtle way in the mind, and in a gross way in the senses. If we are to reach and see the pure, untainted, all-knowing, all-illumining soul, we have to drive away Kama from those seats. All our actions must be directed to this removal, thus rooting out Kama from the body, mind and intellect. That is, when you start doing it, that is true religion. Now, we have come to know the seat of Kama, desire. We must now learn the most effective method of rooting out Kama from its hideouts. You must know this Kama is not so easy to handle. It is so cunning, it can change its colors like a chameleon. It belongs to a lizard family. It changes its color. Sometimes it's yellow, sometimes it's green, sometimes it's red, sometimes it's colorless. Desire also is like that. It can express itself in any way. One can never satisfy this enemy desire. The more and more you give way to it, the more and more does it demand of you. If you think you can pacify it, you will never succeed. It is greedy. It will go on asking for more and more. It is like a forest fire which will go on consuming the forest and will never abate. The more it consumes, the more intense will its thirst become. How true it is. We make like a person today. We develop friendship. We become fascinated with him. But after some time, we hate him. What we want today, is different from what we wanted yesterday. When we are in the grip of a desire, we lose our discrimination and think that whatever we do is the right thing. Again, Lord Krishna says in the Gita, Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsaha Sangasteshu Upajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kamaha Kamat Krodho Vijayate Krodhat Bhavati Sammoha Sammohat Smriti Vibhramaha Smriti Bhramshat Buddhinasho Buddhinashat Pranashyati. Very clearly Lord Krishna has said the process of the desire, how it ruins the man finally. Thinking of an object, attachment for it arises. From attachment, desire is born. From desire arises anger. From anger comes delusion. From delusion, loss of memory of one's true nature. From loss of memory, the destruction of discrimination. From destruction of discrimination, one finally perishes. So, this is the way how desire makes us dance all the time. We are dancing, no doubt. Desire is the thing that impels you, that forces you to dance. It makes you keep on dancing until the last day of your life. You have to keep on dancing. There's a very fine episode in Srimad Ramayana, wonderful episode, which is very relevant to our subject today. You know, Sri Ramachandra and his wife, consort, Sita, and Rama's brother Lakshman. Rama, Lakshman, Sita. These three, they were exiled. They were in the forest. I don't go to the details of the story. I'm just taking a particular episode. No, they were living in the forest. They had built an hermitage and they were living there peacefully, spending the time happily. One day, it so happened, Sita, the wife of Sri Ramachandra, she saw a golden deer in front of the hermitage. She was so excited to see that. She became very curious and it gave rise to tremendous desire in her heart. Well, how beautiful that golden deer. I have not seen the deer like that. What fascinating eyes, what fascinating body, fascinating color, how pretty. I should have it. Desire came. Then how to get it? It's not so easy. You can't seem to go and catch it. It runs away. It runs and runs. Sometimes it shows up, again it disappears, again it comes, again it disappears. It's going on like this, exciting more and more, making the desire in Sita more strong, stronger and stronger. She must have it. It came to that point. Then she requested Ram, "Oh Ram, how nice it is to have the deer with me. You know, we are living in the forest. It is so nice to have a company of the animal, so that just to relax." Will you please get me that? She is expressing the desire. Ramchandra said, how can you expect a golden deer? Janaki, you are in delusion. Don't believe that. There is no golden deer in this creation. It must be some kind of demon. Some kind of demon. In those days, the forests were occupied by demons. Now what has happened? See the process. First, Sita's eyes, which we call senses, she saw the deer. As soon as she saw the deer, her mind was then dragged. Then the intellect also went after it, without caring to think about the reality of the deer. She didn't want to hear anything. But I want to play with that animal. Please bring it. She doesn't want to apply reason. She doesn't want to think in any fashion. Just she wants the deer, that's all. So get the deer for me. Till then I am not satisfied, I am not happy. I will not get sleep. See? She was demanding. You must get it. Then what else can be done? So Sri Ramchandra went after it to catch the deer. You know the deer is not easy to catch. It was running, and Rama also went running after it. Finally, Rama came to know it is not a deer, it is demon. So he killed it with an arrow, finally. But that demon, before he died, he cried out. He was a cunning man. That demon, before leaving the deer's body, he cried. He imitated the voice of Rama and said, "O Sita, O Lakshman, O Sita, O Lakshman." He shouted 2-3 times. And Sita heard it. She became terribly worried. She thought Sri Ramachandra was in great danger. So immediately she asked Lakshman, "Well, go quickly to the rescue of Rama." Then Lakshman told Sita, "Oh Sita, it is not Rama's voice. Somebody is playing the mischief. Can Rama be in danger? Who can conquer Rama? Please don't believe it. He will come back soon. Wait for some time." But Sita was not in a position to wait any longer. Her immediate desire was, "Bring Rama, go right now." Lakshman has to obey. But when her desire was not fulfilled, she became angry. Desire, when thwarted, becomes anger, which I told in the beginning. When kama is obstructed, krodha arises. She became so angry. She wanted to see Lakshman goes immediately. So she uttered very harshly. She said, "Well, Lakshman, I know your true nature. You want Rama to die so that you can have me? I will not allow you to touch me." Sita making the statement this way. Sita knew fully well that what she said about Lakshman was not correct. But blinded by anger, she thought what she was saying was right. Kama can never be satisfied. Just a lesson. Like fire, it would go on consuming and ask for more and more. Alam na asti iti analaha. Alam na asti iti analaha. Something that never gets satisfied. You think what you do is correct. Let us take another example. Suppose you are expecting a promotion in your office, but if somebody points out some mistakes when you're about to get promotion, you become terribly angry and think that that person who was trying to pick out the mistakes was your great enemy. You think like that. You are deluded in the belief that what all you do is perfect. When karma is there, whatever you do, you will not get peace. This evil force you have to conquer. So Lord Krishna says, Indriyani mano buddhihi asya adhishtana muchyate etair vimohyatyesha jnanam avritya dehinam. Kama has 3 dwelling places, which I already mentioned. The senses, mind and intellect. Seated in these 3 places, it envelops the jnana, knowledge. It dilutes the individual. So, that is how desire plays havoc in your life. So, you will have to somehow control it, even if you find it is difficult. Tasmat tvamindriyanyadau niyamya bharatarshava papmanam prajahi henam jnana vijnana nashanam. The first step therefore is to control your senses and their onrush towards the external objects. Jnana means the intellectual understanding that there is but one reality, and that reality is Satchidananda Swarupa. And identifying with that alone will put an end to the cycle of births and deaths. Vijnana means actualizing or realizing or becoming one with Satchidananda Brahman. But this karma, when you allow it to occupy your system, it destroys both jnana and vijnana. So Lord Krishna points out the way to control the senses. Indriyani paranyahuhu indriyebhyah param manah manasastu para buddhi yo buddhe paratastu saha. The senses are very strong. The mind being more subtle, flexible and adjustable is stronger than the senses. Higher than the mind is the buddhi. the discriminating faculty. The mind collects the impression from the senses. It then arranges, rearranges, and coordinates the sense perceptions and presents them as ideas. It is a buddhi which discriminates, analyzes, and decides that this is right or that is wrong, this ought to be done and this not ought to be done, and so on. It is a determining, discriminating faculty in us. That's called buddhi. Higher even than the buddhi or the intellect is the pure consciousness, Atman. When the buddhi associates itself with the mind and the mind in turn associates with the senses, such a man goes down the bottomless abyss of self-degradation. Instead, let the buddhi associate itself with the Atman. Let it take refuge in the ultimate reality. Let it analyze the world. Let it analyze the reality properly. Go on keenly thinking. Associate with satsang, good holy people, holy company. Read good Vedantic and scriptural texts. Understand them. Practice them. What is the truth? What is the reality? And the best way to realize it and attain jnana, peace and ananda, is to associate buddhi in a proper way. When you associate buddhi and engage it in a proper way, then you will see you can conquer the mind, which in turn can conquer the senses. So Lord Krishna concludes the discussion on desire, stating, Evam buddhehe param buddhva samstabhyatmanam atmana jahishatrum mahabahu kamarupam durasadam. So, Arjun, use your intellect to know that reality which is beyond buddhi, beyond the intellect. Thus, reinforced, your buddhi can control the mind and the senses. Thus alone can you destroy the otherwise unconquerable enemy, desire. So, that's the message of Lord Krishna. As long as you are pulled by desires, you can't escape sufferings in the life. If you have to fight properly in the battlefield of life, you must very definitely control the desires. That's what Lord Krishna has said. I get angry so much. How to control anger? People keep on asking that question. How to control anger? Control your desires. Then you will control your anger. That's all. Thank you very much. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunakto Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. May the Divine Spirit protect us, guide us, give us strength and right understanding. May we not hate one another. May love and harmony be with us all. Peace, peace, peace be unto all. May the Divine Lord protect us. May He nourish us. May we work in harmony with great vigor. May our study be illuminating and fruitful. May we not hate each other. Peace, peace, peace be unto all.